It is mailbag time here on the channel. I answer the questions you guys had during our live show, which aired at 3 o'clock Mountain Time on Tuesday. So join us for future live Broncos breakdowns to be on other mailbags. Now, our first question comes in from I'm Frey. Does anyone know what number our first round is next year, or is it too early to know? Yeah, that can't be determined until after the season is over, and let's hope it's pick number 32 for Denver's sake. All right, moving on to our next question, though, from Rhett Ladd. Will we get a new kicker? I could see Denver bringing in some more competition for Brandon McManus. It was kind of his worst season of his career. After his rookie season last year for Denver, he's also got not a huge cap hit. He's a kicker. It's not a ginormous contract. But if, like Sam Martin last year, Denver wants to save some money and they think it might not be a big upgrade, but it might be a marginal downgrade, I wouldn't be shocked. Although messing with the kicker position is it's a risky thing to do. Kickers win or lose games way more than we probably give them credit for. So will we get a new kicker? I think there'll be a second kicker at training camp. It'll come down to which one wins the job, though. Humberto Ramos. Is Russ cooking this year? It depends on what he's what kind of cooking we're talking about. He is not on the barbecue. He might be cooking microwave meals. He might be doing frozen pizzas. But no, I don't think Sean Payton is coming in here and letting Russell Wilson throw it 35 times from the pocket. They're going to get him on the move a lot. I remember last year, Sean Payton, when he was doing TV, was asked, what would you do if you were the Broncos head coach? And he said, I would be giving Russell Wilson, I'd be looking back at all of his previous tapes and finding what he called his best hits, right? And then playing those best hits over and over again. And that is bootlegs, play action, getting Russell Wilson out of the pocket. So if that's the case, yeah, Russell Wilson might not be a, chef, but he's definitely going to be, hopefully, what's the way to put it? Not doing the same type of offense he did last year of just stand in the pocket and pick defenses apart over the middle. That is not Russ's forte. So I'm going to go with Russ being like a DiGiorno pizza chef. That's what I think his role is in 2023. Still good pizza. Broncos, let's ride. Any other free agents you could see the Broncos signing? Good question. Free agency's kind of dried up a little bit, but if there's one position group that still has a lot of notable names still on the market, at least while we're filming this live Tuesday, Jadeveon Clowney is an interesting name to keep an eye on. Now, last year with Cleveland, he only had 2 sacks. He had some character-ish issues down the stretch, and he ultimately was more or less not cut, but he was a healthy scratch for the last game of the season after he threw some other people under the bus for things not going well in Cleveland. But the season prior, he was a 9-sack, 11 tackle for loss player. So if Denver believes that they can find that 9-sack player and they look at their defensive line and go, this is a defense that does not have any true pass rushers, yeah, maybe they do decide to add another one to the rotation if they don't feel confident about Randy Gregory's health or Baron Browning being a number 1 edge rusher on this team. So with that being said, pinned comment on today's video. Should the Broncos sign another pass rusher? Do you like the current unit, and do you have faith in the current unit of Baron Browning, Randy Gregory, and Zach Allen, and Nick Benito, I guess we'll include him, being the top 4 pass rushers? Or do you think they should add a Clowney or another player? Give me your thoughts down in the comment section. This question coming in from the Bronco Kid, and you're yelling at me. What are we going to do to get more QB sacks next year? Okay. Step 1. Have Randy Gregory play more than, 6 games last year? That would definitely go a long way. It's a whole new defense coming in with Vance Joseph. It's still going to be a very similar, look and scheme under Vance Joseph. But what are you going to do to get more quarterback sacks next year? Adding Drew Sanders definitely helps. He's got some really good pass rush upside. He had, 10 sacks last year as a do-it-all linebacker for Arkansas. So if you want to bring him in to do some blitz packages, that's going to be, a challenge for offensive lines. But it really comes down to Randy Gregory. You paid the man $70 million. I think 28 of it was guaranteed, so you can get out after 2, maybe 3 seasons. But Randy Gregory was paid top-tier free agency money to be a double-digit sack player. So add that, plus threw a good amount of money at Zach Allen, who had 5.5 sacks last year with Arizona before having a hand injury cut his season short. Those are two big free agency investments. Pair that with Drew Sanders and maybe even Nick Bonito. That is your best recipe for getting after the quarterback. Jace Bear, do you think that Wilson will turn things around with Sean Payton? To reuse some of the things I said earlier when talking about letting Russ cook, I think Sean Payton's got a much better plan than Hackett did for maximizing number 3, right? Hackett came in there and said, let's do what I did with Aaron Rodgers that won him back-to-back MVPs. And that's not a horrible thought to have on the surface, but Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are very different quarterbacks, and their success stems from very different trees, right? Russell Wilson, like I said, is a lot more of a play-action, bootleg-type quarterback. Aaron Rodgers can stand in the pocket and throw darts and pick a defense apart. That's not really what Russell Wilson's forte is. So Sean Payton is going to create a much better plan for Russ to be successful, but there were just moments last year where it didn't matter who was the play caller. It didn't matter if it was Hackett, if it was Bill Belichick or Sean Payton on the sideline. Russell Wilson missed KJ Hamler wide open in the end zone against the Colts to win the game. So sometimes it doesn't really matter if you can't get the play done, you can't execute. I think we're going to find out if Russell Wilson is 90% of what he was in Seattle, 95, or more like 80. But Sean Payton is definitely going to get the best out of Russ. I just don't know what Russell Wilson's best is anymore. Now, before we get to the rest of the questions on today's show, make sure to subscribe if you have not already. This is the YouTube cliche portion of the show. But in all honesty, if you're looking for a Broncos YouTube channel for the entire offseason, we're going to keep you guys informed and entertained like we like to say here. So subscribe if you have not already. This next question coming in from Eddie Martinez. What's the chance that Javonte Williams will have a big bounce back season? He's coming off a knee injury that it took J.K. Dobbins quite some time. I mean, those are the two most parallel knee injuries where it wasn't just an ACL tear. You had the LCL and you had some more, unfortunately. So for J.K. Dobbins, he tore it in the preseason of 2021. 2020, excuse me. And then he missed all that season. No, 2021, whatever. I'm getting lost in the years. But the point is, J.K. Dobbins took 13 months to return. He missed the first 2 games of the season last year. And then when he returned, he actually missed more time afterwards getting a second knee surgery. So I hate to, be the party pooper here, but I would be very unshocked if Javonte Williams has a mediocre season back, as like Saquon Barkley, his first year back from the ACL tear, which happened early in the season. The next season for Saquon was not really a season to remember. So prepare for the worst. But Javonte Williams was picked early in the draft because of great athleticism. So if anyone's strong enough to overcome an injury like this sooner rather than later, it's probably Javonte. Jackson Nicholson, what's going on? Will Alex Forsyth be a starter by week 1? It's going to be open season in training camp at the center position. Lloyd Cushenberry will be your week 1 starter, will be your starter training camp day 1. Does he hold on to that spot during training camp? It's hard to say right now because we got to watch training camp. But if Alex Forsyth has a good training camp, don't be shocked if they make a move. I know Sean Payton spoke highly of Cushenberry and said he's our starting center. We got to see him work with the other guys. And maybe for Cushenberry, he'll thrive a lot more when he's next to Ben Powers and, Quinn Miners compared to last year, a bit of a rotation even when he was healthy. So for that reason, I'm going to say Cushenberry holds on to the starting job. But it might be one of those cases where if he gets injured and someone else gets to take over for a short time, Alex Forsyth impresses during that short time, it might be his job to lose at that point. Mile High Sean, I still think we should sign Zeke just in case Williams isn't 100% healthy early on. Thoughts? Okay. Zeke is definitely going to help a lot for Denver in spots that they do need help in, right? I don't think Javonte Williams was ever a fantastic goal line back. Just look at the Seahawks game last year. So Zeke can step in here and he can be that goal line back for Denver, right? Samaje Perine was okay with that role in Cincinnati, but he was more of a change of pace back at times. So he's definitely stepping into a new role if he is the bell cow back week 1. I think this team could stand to add another running back. Now, having said all that, Sean Payton did say Javonte Williams will be back for camp. If July rolls around and Javonte Williams starts on the PUP list and the doctors tell Sean Payton it ain't going to be another week or two, it might be another month or two, maybe they decide let's go add Zeke or some other running back still on the open market, because I don't know if Samaje Perine is ready to be a true bell cow back that gets 25 carries a game. So I'm not opposed to adding Zeke for pass protection and goal line situations. Even though he's a bit washed, he doesn't have that true speed he once had. You don't need a ton of speed at the goal line or in pass protection, and Zeke still excels in those areas. So what do you guys think? Should the Broncos sign Zeke? S for sign or P for pass? Give me your take. Give me your thoughts down in the comment section. Eddie Martinez, how many years and touchdowns will Marvin Mims have? How many yards and touchdowns will Marvin Mims have? I'm going to be a little bit more, pump the brakes here. He's wide receiver 4 currently. Maybe he shoots up the depth chart. If injuries happen, that's going to change things. But if the other 3 guys are healthy and are on this team week 1, Marvin Mims is probably going to be a 400-yard, 450-yard, 2-touchdown player his rookie season, just because he's not going to get a ton of snaps and targets as the wide receiver 4. He'll definitely have some of those, takeover games where he goes off for 100, kind of like Mecole Hardman did for the Chiefs, 112 yards and a score. But then the next 2 weeks, it'll be 10 yards and 20 yards, and that's about it. So put me down for 450 and 2 or 3 touchdowns. If he moves up the depth chart, that'll change things. But for now, I think he's going to be wide receiver 4, barring any trades or injuries. Last question coming in from Caden Dees. Do you think we should move on from Randy Gregory because he can't stay healthy and get a better top-tier pass rusher? We should have kept Bradley Chubb and traded Gregory. You really can't trade Randy Gregory just after, you can't trade him last year mid-season. You just signed him to a 5-year contract. I know that happened to Yannick Ngakoue, but it was not going to happen with Randy Gregory. George Payton did not want to just, raise the white flag and admit he made a $70 million mistake like that. Could you trade Randy Gregory after this upcoming season? Yeah, if he has a bad year. If he has a bad year, I don't know many people that are going to be lining up to take on the next 3 years of his contract, so he might be a cut altogether. But should they move on from Randy Gregory? Hey, this is a major season for Gregory. Number 5 has to play majority of the games, which I know is asking a lot, but has to be available. Injuries suck. But unfortunately, this is the NFL, the not-for-long business. And if you cannot be available and you cannot play, you will not have a spot on a roster for very long. So he needs to be available. Some of those things are out of his control, and that's a big bummer. But when he did play last year, him and Bradley Chubb were a wrecking crew to start the season. Remember the first few games, him and Chubb, the forced fumbles and the sacks and whatnot? So I like Gregory if he's healthy. I just have to see that, and I haven't seen it yet. That's going to do it for us on today's live show. Appreciate everyone for tuning into this mailbag here. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already.